Take 3. Disney World Dad here. In what is another sure sign of Disney's push into expanding its Disney Vacation Club, or DVC, properties, Disney announced a brand new resort near Fort Wilderness along Bay Lake in the space formerly occupied by River Country Water Park. But this is actually an updated version of a DVC resort announced years ago that in its wake will change the landscape of the existing Fort Wilderness Resort and Campground. Let me explain what you need to know about Disney Lakeshore Lodge, a brand new DVC resort coming to Walt Disney World in 2027. So this past November, Disney confirmed that a previously announced resort is under construction again, just under a new name. It would now be called Disney Lakeshore Lodge, and it will be opening in only 2 short years. Now, astute fans will know, but for those who don't know, Lakeshore Lodge is going to be located in the same footprint of the previously announced Reflections, a Disney Lakeside Lodge resort, which is also the same location where Disney's now defunct River Country Water Park existed before it finally closed in 2001. Let's briefly discuss the history of Reflections to better understand how we got to this point. Announced back in October of 2018, Reflections was billed as a nature-themed DVC resort on the shores of Bay Lake to be sandwiched between the existing Disney's Wilderness Lodge and Fort Wilderness cabins and campgrounds. The deluxe resort looked big, bringing 1,700 new rooms and DVC villas across various styles, meaning 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, likely 3-bedroom grand villas, and probably standard rooms as well. According to a quote from the president of the Walt Disney World Resort at the time, Walt Disney World is in the midst of our most significant expansion in the last 2 decades, and the combined 1,700 new hotel rooms and proposed Disney Vacation Club villas we are building will drive economic opportunity and incremental revenue for Central Florida. He continued, "We continue to add new attractions, new lands, and these beautiful accommodations will be right in the heart of all that magic." Terry Schultz, SVP and GM of DVC at the time, describes it as follows. "This resort experience will be a celebration of Walt Disney's lifelong love and respect of nature, with some fun and even surprising accommodation types that families will find irresistible." She continued that it will give our members and guests yet another opportunity to stay in close proximity to all the newest attractions and experiences in our theme parks, and with the flexibility, value, and world-class service families expect from Disney. Let's look at some concept art from those announcements at the time so that we can then compare them to the Lakeshore Lodge. The first thing to note is how modern this resort would have looked at the time. Now that we have the Riviera and Island Tower open, it's hard not to compare to those 2 resorts. What I mean is, early concept art shows similar muted colors, modern designs, but with nature inflections mixed with light Disney touches. The entrance would feature a striking porte-cochere with lots of glass and rocks, a nice use of blending the natural spaces and light with, again, a modern approach. This would differ from Wilderness Lodge, which is sort of tucked away in an emulation of a specific region of the country, while Fort Wilderness is mainly cabins and not really something you can experience from one central place like a grand lobby. Multi-storied mid-rises flank both sides of the lobby, showing a blend of newer tower-based designs with the sprawl of Disney resorts from yesteryear. Disney looked to impress with this lobby, leaning more Island Tower and less Riviera, if you know what I mean. A small check-in desk would be off the entrance, which may no longer be a thing. Based on my experience at Island Tower, I can confirm there is no check-in desk, only cast members with iPads. Most intriguing is the centerpiece, a large Pochantas statue on a rock in the middle of a frankly busy space. Note the glass orbs, wooden beams, and lots of steel. Open concept pods featured among many seating options, not unlike the furniture found on the brand new terraces found at Island Tower, which you can see in my YouTube video that I will link in the description. These looked more open and accessible in the lobby, which looked promising. If anything, this looked like a great place to gather, something you can't really do at Fort Wilderness Resort as it stands, as there is not really a lobby and only a small check-in area and the restaurants at Pioneer Hall. This infusion of nature would extend through the resort on upper floors overlooking the lobby and even a lounge-type area that would provide what looks like a fireworks view of Happily Ever After. Other characters featured would be Bambi, the Fox and the Hound, and even Brother Bear. Basically characters that don't otherwise get a lot of love at the Disney World theme parks in their current form. Disney also hinted at a lakeside table service restaurant themed to the Princess and the Frog that would offer sweeping views and a unique menu, though it's not clear that it would feature character dining. This is again something that is missing from Fort Wilderness, where, as fun as it is, it sort of lacks in the food department, in my opinion. Construction for Reflections began in earnest, moving steadfastly through 2019. As a brief aside, I didn't get to go to Disney World as a kid. When I finally did visit, in addition to the rides and all the magic, what truly drew me in was the rich history and the evolving landscape of the Disney World Resort and the impact that that can have on experiences. In researching for this article, I discovered something new, which is another reason why I started this channel, is that I believe that there is always something new to discover about Disney. Anyway, This is Mickey's Backyard Barbecue. Located at a now demolished Fort Wilderness Pavilion, Mickey's Backyard Barbecue was an outdoor character dining experience featuring barbecue foods and Mickey, Minnie, Chip and Dale, and Goofy, and also a live country band as you ate. I'm surprised people don't talk about this more. And along with River Country and the Fort Wilderness Railroad, for example, it shows that the Fort Wilderness Resort is rich with Disney history. I have a full guide to Fort Wilderness that I can link below, and a look at the brand new DVC rooms that I can also link down below, but I might post more history videos about this resort in the future if you want. Let me know your thoughts. Moving on. I'm sad to report that Mickey's Backyard Barbecue, along with the pavilion that housed it, were demolished as Disney started making way for Reflections. Also, parts of Tri-Circle D Ranch, another unique offering at the fort, were demolished, requiring a relocation of the ponies to some other facilities. In 2020, as with so many things, construction stalled during the COVID-19 pandemic. Astute reporters noticed that Disney edited its promotional materials from the resort announcement at D23 to remove references to Reflections, which is never a good sign. Sources also began to report that the project was delayed or canceled and that construction had halted. As we all know, the COVID-19 pandemic seriously altered Disney's construction, changing opening dates for major attractions and really slowing down the transformation that occurred at Epcot over the past several years. And suddenly, in September 2024, a light in the darkness. Boots on the ground's reporters started reporting seeing movement in the same location. Disney then made it official with an announcement in November of last year confirming that the resort was indeed back on, with a slightly different name. Disney in a press release described Lakeshore Lodge as follows. Projected to open in 2027, this proposed new Disney Vacation Club property will be located alongside the shores of Bay Lake at Walt Disney World Resort. The resort will be inspired by the majesty of nature and its enduring influence on Disney artists. With the new announcement came a look at already circulated concept art. From that photo, you can see Bambi, Thumper, and Flower outside the entrance. Above the doorway in cursive, it reads, "The wonders of nature are endless." I also see a small water feature, rock elements, lots of wooden beams and glass, more rockwork and tree designs infused into the resort buildings, and hints of what could be rooftop terraces, either for rooms or for fireworks views. Thanks to the folks at WDW Magic, we have excellent looks at current progress. As you can see from December, the first story is already rising up in earnest. If you look closer, you can see how close this will be to Pioneer Hall. One can't help but wonder how this will impact the Fort Wilderness experience. Another look from January, courtesy of WDW News Today, shows added steel frames and the second floor rising upwards. So they're definitely moving, and they're moving quick, and Island Tower came on time, so this probably will too. Anyway, time to speculate. Based on the same concept art, I would expect similar characters to be incorporated, though we don't know if Pocahontas will still be the central lobby figure. As a reminder, other than that, we can expect Bambi, the Fox and the Hound, Brother Bear, and the Princess and the Frog, of course. But what else would we like to see? I think Miko and Flit from Pocahontas would fit perfectly either in more decor or character experiences, at least for Miko. If we are incorporating the Bayou from the Princess and the Frog, I wouldn't mind seeing more characters from the Rescuers. I would really like to see this resort to stay focused on less featured characters, so we're going to have to wait and see. Moving on, the retheme of Splash Mountain to Tiana's Bayou Adventure shows that Disney is further leaning into this film. So I think that means that the proposed restaurant is still on, but I would like to know whether it's going to be a character dining experience, as I mentioned earlier. Based on the vibes, I can see this place being a little more upscale, maybe with just the name Tiana's, and it could feature character dining at breakfast, but then transition to signature dining at dinner time, similar to what we see at Topolino's Terrace at the Riviera Resort. I would also expect a new quick dining option and some merchandise given the size of this resort, so I will be staying tuned for that. Lastly, I'm curious to know about the transportation at this resort. Bus service is already spread out across Fort Wilderness, and there are boat launches at Bay Lake that get you to the various resorts around Bay Lake and Seven Seas Lagoon, plus the Magic Kingdom, and if you know what you're doing, the Transportation and Ticket Center and other monorail stops. I'm wondering whether Lakeshore Lodge will have its own boat launch and bus stop, or similar to Island Tower, will it feed off the existing transportation at Fort Wilderness? I'm also curious how this will affect traffic in the area, not only in those options, but logistically speaking, whether new pathways and connecting sidewalks will be made and integrated into Fort Wilderness. Again, only time will tell. All right, that was a lot of information. As you can glean, I'm a huge fan of Disney World resorts, and as always, I'm excited about Disney expanding with the new resort. The Bay Lake area is perhaps my favorite, and I'm excited to see how this will modernize the existing area. That said, there is already a lot of modernization for this area that Disney has sort of quietly worked on that has flown under the radar due to other Disney World changes. For example, the Fort Wilderness cabins were just updated and converted to DVC units, which kind of changes the tone of the otherwise relaxed resort, now that it is no longer a moderate resort, but a DVC property. Considering that Lakeshore Lodge will be sandwiched between Fort Wilderness cabins and Disney's Wilderness Lodge, both of which are very popular and nature focused, it begs the question, who is this resort specifically geared towards? Also, how will this new modern resort impact the nature line, off the beaten path vibe of the fort? As a fan of the distinct fort experience, I'm hoping the relaxed vibe remains the same and available even with this exciting new addition. Okay, tell me all your thoughts about Lakeshore Lodge. Are you excited? Thoughts on the new name? Will it be different from the concept art? Will it change the Fort Wilderness area for better or for worse? Let me know your thoughts, and as always, thanks for watching and consider subscribing.